Hi there, it's Mrs. Dixon here. It's really lovely to see you all. I was really pleased when Miss Running asked me to help her with the reading of Krindlekrax for you all. What a brilliant book. I've really enjoyed hearing about the first 13 chapters by Miss Running. Shall we find out what happens next? Okay, chapter 14. Ruskin shivered so violently he nearly dropped his cup. "Are you cold, my dear boy?" asked Corky. "No, I just..." "More tea?" asked Corky. "No," Ruskin said. "Are you ill?" "Just finish your story," cried Ruskin. In the closest his squeaky whisper of a voice could get to, a shout. "Tell me about Krindlekrax." Corky took a deep breath. "One day," Corky said, "I was underground when I heard a noise like I'd never heard before. A sort of crying sound. Eek! Went the noise. I looked all around. My torch beam cut through the darkness, and there on a ledge beside the trickling water, I saw something move. It was about the size of a shoe and bright green and had tiny, sharp teeth. It was eating a slice of toast." "What was it?" Ruskin asked, staring at Corky and clutching the edge of his seat. "A baby crocodile, my dear boy," Corky replied. "But how did it get there?" "I never found that out, but there it was, bright green and munching toast. There was marmalade on the toast, and orange rind was stuck between the crocodile's teeth. There was something so enticing about the tiny creature. I wanted to touch it, so I stepped forward. My feet went splash in the water, and the light from my torch shone in the animal's eyes, making them bright red." "Were you scared?" Ruskin asked. "No, my dear boy. I just wanted to get closer to the crocodile, to feel its skin." Corky licked a chocolate biscuit for a while, then continued. "Slowly, I reached out. I could feel the crocodile's warm breath on my fingertips, and then suddenly the crocodile snapped its jaw shut. I managed to get my finger out of the way just in time. Clack! Went the jaws, like two bits of metal clanging together. I took a step back, slipped, and fell into the water. The water went up my nose and into my ears and made me cough and splutter, but I didn't have time to cough and splutter for long." "Why, Corky?" Ruskin asked. "Because the crocodile was already chasing after me," Corky replied. "I ran down the tunnel. The crocodile was very fast. I could hear its cracking jaws and the swish of its tail. I ran through the dirty water, hardly looking where I was going. I started to panic. For a moment I thought I was lost and would never find the ladder that led up to the surface again. 'Help!' I called. 'Help me, someone!' My voice echoed all around me, but no help came. No one could hear me. I was underground, my dear boy, and no living thing could hear me, except..." "The crocodile!" Ruskin interrupted. "Exactly," Corky said, "except the crocodile. But suddenly I saw the ladder. I grabbed it and started to climb. I was halfway up when I felt a terrible pain in my knee." Corky touched his leg, the one with the limp. I looked down and saw the crocodile biting my knee. I shook my leg frantically, but the crocodile wouldn't let go. Its tiny jaws were clenched tight. Deeper and deeper its teeth went into my skin. I was yelling out. Finally, I hit the crocodile as hard as I could. It let go and fell back into the watery darkness. I heard it go splash." Corky poured himself another cup of tea. "Thirsty work," Corky remarked, all this storytelling. "So that's how you got your limp," Ruskin said. "Exactly, my dear boy," Corky said. "I went to hospital and a doctor put a bandage round my knee and told me I'd be all right, but I wasn't. The crocodile had bitten through a tendon or something and I had to use a walking stick." Corky picked up the packet of biscuits and looked inside. "Only one left," he said. "Do you want it, my dear boy?" "No, you can have it," Ruskin replied. "You sure? I wouldn't want to cheat you out of your share of the delicious chocolate." "I'm sure, Corky. Just tell me. You being chased by the baby crocodile? Is that why you left your job in the sewers and became a caretaker instead?" "In a way," Corky replied, licking the biscuit. "But, well, there's still more to tell." "Oh, what, Corky? What?" Well, I stopped going into the sewers. True, Corky continued, but I still worked for the same firm. They gave me a job in an office instead. I stayed there for several years, and then one day a worker went sick and they needed someone to go underground in his place to check out a few leaks and rusty pipes. And you were the one who went, Ruskin said. That's right, Corky said, his tongue covered with chocolate. I put my helmet on, this very helmet, with its torch, and went down into the darkness again. And you saw the crocodile again? Suggested Ruskin. Oh, not at first, Corky said. At first, I didn't even think about it. I just concentrated on walking through the water without slipping. And then I heard it. What? A roar like I had never heard before. Like a million car tyres screeching all at once. It made my bones shake. Because you were scared? Ruskin asked. Very. Because you knew what it was? That's right, my dear boy, Corky said, licking the last of the chocolate from the biscuit and throwing it away. I knew that for all those years, the baby crocodile had been drinking the dirty water and eating the remains of food. I knew that it had been growing and growing. And I knew something else. I knew that biting my knee had given it a taste for my blood. I knew that it had been growing and waiting for me to return so it could finish me off once and for all. Ruskin leaned forward and squeezed Corky's hand. What did you do? Ruskin asked, eyes wide. Well, I didn't panic, my dear boy, Corky replied. That's the worst thing to do. Never panic. So, slowly and calmly, I turned around and limped towards the ladder. I tried to be as quiet as possible. The splashing of my feet in the water sounded so loud to me. And then I heard it again. The terrible roar. I knew the crocodile was getting closer. Although it wasn't a crocodile anymore, was it, Corky? It had got another name. It was Krindlekrax, Corky said. I just knew that was its name. The roar of Krindlekrax filled my ears. I saw the ladder and reached out. I could hear splashing coming towards me. I knew Krindlekrax was getting closer and closer. I ran up the ladder, and in those last few moments I glanced down to see what was chasing after me. What did it look like? Ruskin asked. Huge and dark, Corky replied, with pointed claws and sharp teeth and breath as hot as fire. It was the most terrible thing I had ever seen. Corky leaned back and took his helmet off. When I got home that evening, he said, I saw that all of my hair had turned white. The sight of Krindlekrax had drained the colour from me. So you left your job, right, Corky? Ruskin asked. Corky nodded, saying, yes, I left. I got a job at St. George's School, where you and I became friends, so I can't complain too much. Ruskin smiled. But I'll tell you something, Corky continued. Some nights I know that Krindlekrax comes up through the largest drain in Lizard Street. I know it comes up and searches for me. And shall I tell you how I know? How? Ruskin asked. Because its heavy tail cracks the pavement, and its fiery breath scorches the bricks dark. And its claws put bumps and holes in the road. That's how I know. But it's never found you, Ruskin said nervously. No, Corky replied, wrapping the old newspaper round the tin helmet, and it never will. Oh, don't let it, Ruskin cried, getting to his feet and hugging Corky. Don't let it get you. You're the only friend I've got. There, my dear boy, Corky said, holding Ruskin very tight. Don't upset yourself. I'll never let Krindlekrax get me. I'll bolt all my doors and lock my windows and tuck myself in tight when I go to bed. I'm as safe as houses. If I ever see Krindlekrax, Ruskin said, I'll tame him, so you'll be safe forever. None of us is safe forever, Corky said. We can only be safe for little whiles at a time. Ruskin was still clutching Corky's golden medal in his hand. I'm still curious about this, Ruskin said. Tell me why you got the medal. Not now, Corky said. That's enough stories for one night. Is it anything to do with Krindlekrax? Ruskin asked. No, Corky replied. Is it anything? Began Ruskin. It doesn't matter, interrupted Corky. Now you get yourself home, my dear boy. Your mum and dad will be worried.